Good evening. And if you're just tuning in live, you're either listening or watching 105.3 FM out of the Gulf Coast, Mississippi, and 107.7 FM out of the beautiful city of New Orleans to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And this is the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. I see you all in the chat. Thank you for your patience. Hang tight there. We got a little bit of housekeeping. Then we're going to bring on our star. She's bringing a new show on Wednesday. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Super excited. And she filled in at the last minute. I never have cancellations. And it just worked out beautifully. And I'm so glad she could be here. It's Beverli. But like I said, my name's Lorilei Potvin. I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. I'm also a registered nurse. And I see Julie in here, so I'm going to have to embrace. I'm not embracing it. Julie Jean Bassett, a budding animal communicator. And Julie always gives me heck and says, you're not budding. Anyways, I'm extremely well versed in near-death experiences as well, having studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. I also had one as a toddler. And I'm extremely well versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for it. It found me. We have shared our story on the Travel Channel's the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor. It's season 4, episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. I did not name it that, but that's what it's called. And at the time, I did not know our beautiful, lovely station manager, Michelle DeRoche. She was one of the consultants that appears on camera at that time. Talk about a small world. Anyways, what else do I want to tell you guys? We do have our own TV channel. If you want to watch us on TV, you just go to Roku. You're going to sign into your account, go to the channel store. Usually there's a code for it. I don't know what the code is, so this is the easiest way to find it. You're going to go to the channel store, to the search bar, type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop-down list, and you're looking for UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio, and that's how you can watch us. If you guys, I always say, if you can't see us, you can't join the conversation. We got a lively chat tonight. We're going to say hi to everybody in just a few minutes. If you know about this show, and I also do a second show with one of my close friends. She's also a host on the network, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. She's the hostess of Spirit Switchboard on Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we do a show together on Thursdays called Below. Well, God, my mouth is not working tonight. Beneath the Hollow Moon. And you guys, we are doing dragons this week. We haven't decided on what we're going to be showing up on camera with yet, but I hope you'll join us there. But if you can't see us, you can't join the chat. So I'm going to quickly rattle off the places we're streaming to. So you can go to my Facebook profile, which is Lorilei Potvin, as well as my LinkedIn under the same name, my YouTube channel, which is Lorilei Potvin, and it's the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. We are also streaming on the network's Facebook profile under UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, our main YouTube channel by the same name, as well as our Twitch channel, same name. And I am I'm hopping over to the owner of our network's Rumble channel, Joe Montaldo, under Jojo Mon, so you guys can find us over there. Lastly, I think we're streaming on Instagram. It's not behaving itself the way I usually set it up. I even did some research the last couple of weeks, but it says we're live over there. So crossing my fingers, we are. What else do I want to tell you guys? Oh gosh, how could I forget? Mondays here, all the shows are supported by the brand Carnation. So it's called Carnation Mondays, and I want to give a huge shout out to Carnation also for supporting all of our shows, including the Angel Rock. We are extremely grateful for that, and I hope that you will support Carnation as well, because they bring all these great shows to you on Mondays. So this network it's been around for 25 plus years. And 80% of our audience actually is audio only. That's why I tell you guys where to find us, because otherwise you're watching and you're going, how can I ask my questions? How can I join in? So that's how you can. What else do I want to say to you guys? I think that's everything. So let's get to our lovely Beverli Rhodes biography. You guys were asking for it. We got into a great conversation that became quite popular from what I could see. And I thought, let's do this. Let's continue the conversation. So we've got Beverli Rhodes, and Beverli Rhodes, I am so thrilled. I was telling her before the beginning of the show, I have been a big cheerleader of Beverly's and Azria Beckham as well. I found them when they first started on Sean Atwood's channel on YouTube. And I've been talking about these ladies forever. Well, now she's joining UPRN. You know what? I'll let you tell them, but I'll mention the name, but I want you to tell them about this show. So Friday. I wish it was Friday, maybe. This Wednesday, June the 18th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Beverli is bringing her new show here called True Crime with a Twist. I cannot wait. I'm going to give her a few minutes to tell you about it in just a minute. And what happened here? Did my page just go blank on me? Oh, here we go. So I'll tell you a little bit about Beverli. She's the author of The Horse Girl and the historical book Finding Your Cosmic Connection that details UFO encounters with beings off-world. She is an expert remote viewer with over 45 years of experience, and she also does a remote viewing alliance where a bunch of us get together. I was so grateful to be asked to be joining part. Well, I didn't ask. I asked, I should say. She didn't ask me. I asked. I've been wanting to do this for years, to use our gifts and remote viewing to try and help lost and missing children. And I just love all the people that are there from around the world. It's such a great group of people. So you can also find her remote viewing academy at awakeningacademyco.uk. It's also streaming across the bottom of the screen. And you can also find her on TikTok, where she shares predictions based on energy fields and frequencies. And she also has a YouTube channel too, which she can also tell you about. Welcome, Beverli. I'm so glad to have you back.
Oh, thank you, Lo. I'm just so pleased to be here. It's a one of those where you think, oh my goodness, they decided to go for the show. It was
I think
fantastic.
it's a great idea. It's great. Tell them about it. Tell them about your show.
No,
So it's coming.
so it is with a major difference. So we all know about serial killers. We all know about these criminals that do these things, and they've been put in Chucky in the prisons, and that's where they are. Or alternatively, they've already transitioned. But it's with a twist, because we are having a look for certain things. We're looking for demonic possession. We're looking for off-world possible Draco reptilians,
Oh,
all
wow.
the other horrible nasties that we can get. But not only that, we're looking at the astrology side of things to see, does that chart actually stop on that particular point, or doesn't it? So what is that telling us? Then we also have the Demon Hunters Inc., which is my other show, is we have various numbers of demon hunters that I have around the world. And if it's an American native tribe, then we will have Aquana. If it's any of the others, we would have any of the others that I have. If it's Australian, I have a particular lovely gentleman in Australia, and he works particularly with natives over there, as well as those with serial killings. So we look at all these strands to see, well, the what if. And you'll see most of the titles will be, was James Allen Red Dog, which is our first show for this week. Was James Allen Red Dog possessed? Question mark.
I don't know if I've heard about his name before. So what part of the world is he in that he committed his crimes?
Well, he's an American,
Oh,
and he lived on the reservation for a very long time. And it was one of these reservations that had very little opportunities for the peoples. And it really is not surprising that he was demonized at the age of 8. So we're looking at, and here is a serial killer. It's very unusual, really, to find, one of these traditional types of individuals that grew up in a reservation, committing a crime. He killed quite brutally 5 people.
we have
So
a lot. We have a lot where I live because, as I said to you earlier today, we have a really strong First Nations population. Now, I don't know if there's ever been anybody that's been, caught that was a serial killer, but we could definitely be counted with a lot of missing First Nations women and like females,
yeah.
basically, that are Not enough attention to it, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true. There should be more attention to that. I'm not quite sure why, but I would imagine there's some underlying reason for that. So we decided, I looked at it and I thought, well, what is very unusual? What's going to pique interest and understanding? And
Mm-hmm.
what could we look at for the first show to say, come on, guys, everyone in the chat, everyone that's listening at home, make up your own mind, but we're going to provide some of the evidence. So we're going to do some remote viewing. We're going to have a look at different signs and symbols. You know, what was happening when the soul was still growing up to the age of 8, and then later we're going to look at all these factors as evidence of what. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Was the person possessed or was the person not possessed? This particular case is one of the most interesting cases ever because this man, as a warrior, demanded that he be given the death penalty.
Wow.
Yeah, because he said warriors are owed.
Like Israel Keys, I mean, he called the shots right till the end himself too, right? He didn't, he wanted the death penalty. He wanted it all. And I believe he took his own life. So I guess maybe you got some control when you have most of your control taken away, right? When you're locked up in a facility.
Yeah. And so his case is particularly interesting. Lots of fascinating aspects within him. And when you look at the ups and downs and you'll be able to see these patterns because we're going to highlight this to you in the show on Wednesday, the 18th of June. And it is quite, when you start looking at it and unpicking all the little pieces, and then you realize at the end, when he turned around to his wife and he said, I'm going home. And I'm not just on, obviously he's going home to great creator. And you just think to yourself, well, I'm kind of guessing that going home to the great creator, he must have realized he had significant attachments. So the show on Wednesday is going to be talking about just that.
I think that's really important. And then once we finish up here, we'll say hi to everybody. We've got so many of your great people over here I can see that are going to be joining our family because they're going to be coming to watch you. I know I'm going to be there Wednesday. But what I like about the whole concept of your show is it's not just looking at, you know, all we get is this person that's created, you know, a serial killer, obviously, has committed horrible atrocities. And we, you know, as the public see this and obviously would judge and look at it, but for the crimes, but I like that you're looking at the whole picture. What contributed to this individual, you know, committing these types of atrocities? I'm going to call them atrocities, and unacceptable. And especially like when you say the demonic possessions, or is the reptilians, is there, I know even sometimes you can pull in astrology. There's so many pieces to pull in to take a look at this big picture of who this individual is, right?
And we'll be looking at as we go along. We didn't do a soul plan on this particular, on Red Dog at this stage, but you know, we've got planned like 9 weeks in advance, and we've got a couple of folks. You've got the Vampire of Sacramento. That's one of them we're looking at. Oh yeah. So we've got all sorts of very strange and unusual cases that are not always the highest of profile. Yes, we do have Ted Bundy. I mean, we had to do Ted Bundy. Come on.
I could ask you about Jack the Ripper too. Are you planning on doing him? Because
we're planning on doing, yes, we're doing that. We've got research on the go at the moment where we've got a couple of the remote viewing alliance individuals that wanted something a bit unusual. So we've got a couple of them having a bit of a scratch around in what old Jack the Ripper was doing and that at the time. So we've got some unusual things coming up. That'll take a little bit of time, I guess. But Bundy, yes, because we have somebody that's on the panel that actually has been speaking to him for about 6 months, to Ted Bundy.
Wow. Actually, I watch a few true crime channels. I'm going to mention some of them. Well, I love Sean Atwood's channel. I do. I know he doesn't always do true crime, but also The Interview Room, which has a husband and wife couple, obviously. Chris McDonough is a retired Los Angeles homicide detective, and his wife, Karen, is an investigative journalist, and they're retired. But he has since started the Cold Case Foundation with many of people that have been involved in true crime, like Dr. Gary Bricado has written a book that classifies where many of these killers all fall in under the psychological profile. And then there's Dr. Ann. Why do I always forget her name? I can see her. It'll come to me. There was a TV series out there called Mind Hunter. It was loosely based on her. She was the first female that was pulled in, and how the whole profiling started with the FBI.
Yes.
And yep, brings her in. And then I just love that it's very victim centered, as well as Grizzly True Crime. She's from South Africa, Gisela. I love her channel. And then Surviving the Survivor is kind of a family affair too. It's Joel Waldman. His mom I haven't seen on there recently, but I believe she's 85 years old, Carmela. Sharp as a tack, used to be a social worker, survived the Holocaust. And so she provides that element. But I've never seen a show like yours before. So I am going to be there Wednesday, and I am super excited about this.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for all your support, because, without you and Carolyn and Michelle and others, I mean, this wouldn't have been possible for Wednesday. So a big shout out to you guys. Thank you.
I told you, I've been one of your biggest cheerleaders. I got Carrie Lynn hooked on you. I got a couple of my close friends hooked on you a long time ago. And then I didn't reach out. I was being a big chicken, and I reached out to I just thought, well, she's so busy, like she'd never respond. So when Carrie Lynn messaged me that she'd reached out to you, we were practically doing this happy dance on the phone. I was so like two schoolgirls. And then I sort of introduced her more to Azria, and she connected the two of us. That's the way the world works. So I think all of the people that are doing this kind of work are finding each other and that's a beautiful thing, I think.
It's time. And the one thing also, I've got a bit of a giggle on this, because I'm a Leo, and I know there's lots of Leos in the audience. Leo. And I know you're a Leo too. It's the hair that gives it away. And I got this very funny message from somebody the other day that is also a Leo, and said, with all this that's happening in the sky at the moment, with the sun pressure and, all these sun flares and all of this happening, the Leos are melting.
I have never met so many Leos.
Leos.
A Leo. I'm a Leo. You're a Leo. Azria's a Leo. Let us know in the chat if you're a Leo.
Yes, tell us.
Yes, or what your sign is. Let's say hi to everybody.
Mish is a Leo. Mish is a Leo. Koala said, God bless the Leos. Cheeky.
Okay,
Julia says, I'm a Leo.
I'm good. Okay, I'm going to start at the top, and then we'll get to them. So it says Peyton Lyons Gray. I know who you are. Hi, Peyton. She's part of with us with our team that we've worked together. So you've got Kate Snyder Sterling. Hi, she's saying Aquana. Hi, she's sending lots of love and light. Let's go down. We got Tia Bean. Looking forward to a great new show, Bev. Everybody, I loved my chat, because you've got such a great following already, but we have sort of a core group of people. You'll get to know them. They follow a lot of the shows, and they're so lovely to people they've never met. And everybody that joins our shows, have you not found like how intelligent people are? The questions they ask, and what they share,
and so polite.
I love that. Yes. So we've got Heidi Gall. She's one of our regulars.
I know Heidi. Yes, I know Heidi.
Heidi. She says, much love from Boulder, Colorado. We got Victoria from Astrolight Paranormal. She says, hi, everyone. Looking forward to watching tonight. Well, we're all glad you could join us. Sparky's Paranormal and Outdoors is here. Let's see.
Carolyn. I think Carolyn's in here somewhere.
She might be. I know she's working. She's working tonight. So I already messaged her when you said yes. I said, guess who's coming on tonight? She has a break. She said she's going to pop in. So let's see. I always start at the top. So we got Selma. Hi, Selma.
Yes, it's Selma.
Yeah, Carrie Lynn Show. Thank you for joining. Now, this is Julie Jean Bassett, who is talking about one of our regular supporters of our shows. I always give her a shout out. Please remind me, I know you've got a new animal communication course coming out, Julia. I want to say the end of June. Julie, I took the animal communication course with Julie. She's become a very good friend. And I tell people out there for her, she oh my goodness, she's helped me personally with many of my own animals. And, some people, like, we love our fur babies or whatever
Mm.
you call them. Some of them don't have fur, but when they're doing things that you just can't understand why they're doing it. Like, I originally contacted her when my son was alive, and him and his cat were so bonded. And all of a
Oh.
sudden, she started piddling on his bed every now and then. There wasn't a
Oh.
health issue. And Julie was able to figure out the issue and also send healing and really, really help. So a lot of behavioral issues that may have pet parents out there pulling their hair out, Julie can help, as well as she is a pet medium. She also
Oh.
is an incredible shamanic healer. I've had a session with her quite a few months back now that was life-changing. So you guys, if you're looking for somebody like that, please support her. I always ask her, she's got a new website, and I keep forgetting to remember what it was, but I know she's also on Facebook under Julie Jean Bassett, so you can reach out to her that way as well. And we'll unhighlight that. Okay, let's go through. I'm going through quick if I can here. I don't want to miss anybody. Let's see. Oh, and I always call Kevin by his muggle name, I say. So Z-Sun Dragon's here. Kevin.
Muggle name. Love it.
I don't know how to say your name. Do you TQ and then O? I'm not sure. To quote? I don't know.
TQOE. Huh?
Well, welcome. You're a newbie. We love having newbies here, so welcome. Let's see. I'm going through it. I don't want to miss anybody. Hang on. Oh, don't be silly there, computer. And then we got Connie Martins, or Contessa Martin, saying hello. She's another one of our regulars. And Kirby's 100 is another regular. We got Mandy. She says hello, beautiful souls. Let's see. I'm still going through. There she goes. Julie always gives me heck when I call myself a budding animal communicator. So always check the chat before I say that at the beginning. Let's see. I just love you guys are all saying hi. Aquana's excited about the dragons this Thursday that Carrie Lynn and I are talking about. Oh, we got Mish. I always love to tease Mish. She's my birthday twin. She's another Leo. I know that because her birthday.
Another one. Melting Leos.
It's August 14th, but she's in Australia. So I always tell her she's in the future because it's Tuesday morning over there. So there's a 12-hour period where our birthdays overlap. She's August 14th. I'm August 15th. So I call Mish my birthday twin, and she does resin and organite and things like I do. So
my grandson is August 14th.
Oh, wow.
There
you go. Everybody's just saying hi. We're getting down there.
Hi, we're getting there.
Kathy, you sent this is another one of our regular viewers. I haven't seen her lately, and she sent me something on the weekend. I don't think I got a chance to say thank you for that, Kathy. I'm so glad to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, she's usually here. I hadn't seen her for a wee bit, so I'm glad she's back. We got Lulabelle. Good evening.
Oh, Lulabelle. Yes. Lulabelle's very, very talented. She is able to do, like, you send a couple of things through to her, like the pictures from GSEC of all the UFOs, or the pictures of different things out there. She's able to put it together, and she put 1, 2, 3, 4. And the next minute you've got this amazing artwork via digital artwork, and it all moves and it changes and it does all this sort of thing. And I'm like, wow, look at that! It's beautiful. So yeah, very clever lady.
I would love to see it. And I smiled at your name because that is a nickname my mother used to call me, Lulabelle. I have no idea but she did. Let's see. We're getting down to the bottom here.
Carolyn's there.
I'm getting there. We got Michelle Wilfong. Hi, Michelle. You guys, she's got a haunted apartment. She posts on TikTok with that. Please check her out. She's also my moderator on TikTok. If I could get my hack that I had to get onto TikTok, I'm working on it because we will be back live on TikTok. She's a great mod. Let's see. So, we got Oracle of Delphi. I know who that is, lady.
Oh, he's on there. That's good.
Let's see. I'm going down. You're right at the bottom, so you get to see Carrie. I'm sure she is there. Carrie Lynn said she was going to pop in. I knew she would.
Yeah, she is.
Let's see. Everybody's still saying hi to one another. Lady D's eating pretzels. I saw that.
That's because everybody likes to talk about food and food and food. And I think she was taking the P out of a corner because she was called Snack Kwana or something, and that was on. Yeah, that was on Carolyn's show, or it might have been on your show. And it's just stuck. And I missed the gig. I didn't know what it was, and I had to go back and read and try and figure it out. But yeah, nobody's forgotten that. Yeah, snack Kwana is the one that's always eating.
I didn't this week, but I usually join the owner of the network show on Friday night with some of the gentlemen on the network. Mm-hmm. It's called News on the Flip Side, and talks a little bit more about politics and a little bit of ufology sometimes sneaks in, and we have a lot of fun. I'm known as Conspiracy Princess on there because Joe likes to tease us. So he's always called me Conspiracy Princess because he said he only knows one woman that I don't call it conspiracy. I prefer truth seeking, but he says there's only one that he would call the queen because she's always delving into all these mysteries. So if you guys tune in, I believe I'll probably be there this Friday. It's usually later though, our time. It's around 10:15, and it just goes on. Sometimes a couple hours, sometimes longer. Well, there's no shows after us, right? And Joe's the owner of the network, so
he can do what he likes. So hey, Joe.
Well, the other one is the chat on Saturday night is a 2-hour show. It starts at 7:15 Eastern, and I'm also on that with the boys, and that's why I brought it up because we can talk about anything. It's usually food or pets. Great group of guys, and Carrie Lynn usually joins in. Sometimes she's invited on Fridays, but she usually Saturdays work out better. So we join the guys, and it's a lot of fun. We talk about all kinds of things.
Like a lot of fun.
Julia Evans is watching from the UK, so thank you, because Beverly's over in the UK and it's late. So thank you to people staying up late to tune in. Let me see, we're getting there. We got Deanne Daly, I think. Great to see you again. Sorry, I'm late. You're not late. You're right on time. Let's see. Boy, oh boy, you guys. I'm so glad you're all talking to one another and that you're here. I'm still scrolling. There we go. Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. And right away. Hi, Carrie Lynn. We're glad you could join.
And that's a good thing because these are my colleagues. Oh my Lord.
Mm-hmm. I already messaged her because I was actually, you guys, the guest canceled on me and I already knew they would. I kind of picked that up from Spirit, and they weren't able to do it. And I was actually thinking, should I just maybe do a replay? I haven't taken a time off in a long time. And then things just fell into place, and here we are with Beverly again. I'm glad she's here. So Kevin says he's a Gemini on the cusp of Taurus. Lula Bell says my brother's a Leo. He's a lovely guy, very intelligent. And Victoria from Light Paranormal Sagittarius here. Thanks for sharing. Oh, hi, Mort Ali. He's another one of our regulars that pops in, and we're so glad that you're here. So we've got Kwana. Yay. She says Team Pisces. I love it.
Oh, Kwana must be a Pisces then.
Yeah, that's Team Pisces. Yeah.
Team Pisces. Okay.
And Contessa or Connie is Sagittarius. Deanne Daly says I'm Pisces too.
Oh, we're being outvoted here. There's lots of Pisces in the chat. I'm sure there's Capricorns too.
I'm a little partial to Pisces. My son that passed away was a Pisces. My other one is a Cancer, and he embodies every part of the being a Cancer, I believe. I do.
One of my daughters is a Pisces. She's 24th of Feb.
Oh, your daughter?
One of them, yes. I have 4. I have 4 daughters, and one of them is a Pisces.
4 daughters. Oh my goodness. I'm looking for it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so my eldest son, I had 2 boys, and I have one still Earthside. And he does drag part-time, and his drag character is called Chez La Vie instead of C'est La Vie.
Oh, how lovely.
They did did candles at a local candle maker. And I pulled it out because I said I was going to share it. It's under waxed.com. Now, the candles aren't on there, but I asked the girl she could talk to the owner. You guys check them out because none of the drag performers are getting any proceeds from this. They're my son, for example, picked up the smell. It's a beautiful, very light apricot mango. And they're donating, I forget the name of the charity, but all proceeds are going to a charity to support people under the LGBTQ or with the community. And I thought, what a great thing. So I thought, I'm going to pull it out and share it with y'all.
Wow, yeah, especially because it's for charity. That's
Yes,
wonderful.
that's why. Yeah. Okay, we're getting to the bottom. Oh, Carrie Lynn says she's just popping in while guests have dinner. So Carrie Lynn does different events. So she's talked about spirits and sweets, or she does dining with the dead. So I
Oh, dining with the dead. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to toot Carrie Lynn's horn here because I work as a medium as well. But Carrie Lynn, I say this, and I don't usually use this language, but I'm going to. She is one of the most kick-ass mediums I have ever met. That woman will tell you things, and I never asked my friends for reading or anything. My son came through, and the things that came through was just, we were working on a show, and he popped up, and Carrie Lynn had met him before. And the things that he said were either verifying things I had picked up. I haven't taken her through my house. And she goes, oh, and my son's name is Justin. And she said, yeah, Justin's taking me through your house. I go, my messy house. And I, obviously. And she goes, yeah. And she described the room where the litter boxes were, but why she did, because she could feel the cat litter under her feet. Like, this lady is mind-blowing, you guys. So she does events like this, dining with the dead, and
I love it.
dinner with, and then she does almost a gallery reading. And she knows beforehand, she's told me that everybody that's going to come in comes in and just directs her around the room. She could do it blindfolded, honestly.
Yeah.
She'll know where to go. And people get to enjoy a lovely dinner and beautiful healing messages from their loved ones. And then she does spirits and sweets, where same sort of, I'm probably not doing it justice, but a gathering of people that have beautiful, delicious desserts. And
that sounds amazing.
Carrie Lynn, please tell me if I've forgotten it or I missed something. So let's see. Oh, Mandy says she's looking at all the Pisces. Oh, Deanne Daly, my fur baby is seriously poorly right now. Oh, if it's okay, I'd love to. I'm going to be doing a healing session after this. There's been a lot of people needing some healing. So if you're open to it, I'd be happy to send some. And I send much love to you that your fur baby's not doing so well. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Aquana says I may be sparse in comments. Picking tomatoes right now. More snacks needed.
It's all about food.
So anybody that wants to learn how to communicate with your animals, and I believe it's our birthright as human beings, Julie has a beginner course, a beginner animal communication workshop on June 28th and 29th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern both days. I highly recommend it because I can hear people out there saying, well, I'm not psychic. I'm not this. We are all intuitive. And I believe it's our birthright to be able to communicate with our fellow animals on this planet. And Julie is a wonderful teacher. So I should probably put the link up here somewhere. Everybody's still saying hi. And people are just sending support to D, it sounds like. Thank you. Oh, you love the purple hair, Lady D? Thank you. It's your favorite
Beautiful
color. Thank you. And we got Azria with the pink hair. I'm just looking, everybody's supporting Deanne right now with her fur baby. I'm so happy. And then hang on. Oh, that's what Carrie Lynn's saying. It's all about the snacks, snackwana, because she put it in loud letters. My purse is full of snacks.
Oh dear.
We would do some serious damage. There's, I don't know if you have them over in the UK, but it's Dairy Queen, and they make the most delicious ice cream. And do you have Dairy Queen over in the UK?
I haven't seen it. No, I don't think. We've got like Haagen-Dazs and other, I don't know, and yeah, those sort of things. But they're all cow-based products, and I can only do plant-based. I think when you get to a certain age, which will remain nameless, you get to a certain age, your body says, no more cow products. Forget it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I haven't been able to have a lot of milk. So if I
Mm.
do, yeah, I pay for it. So every now and then I'll have a treat, and it cannot compare to Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs is literally heaven on a spoon to me.
It is, yeah, it is. But you know what? 5 seconds on the mouth and the lifetime on the hip. So I just stay away from it.
Mhm. So Carrie Lynn says she has us shared out. So thank you, Carrie Lynn, for sharing,
Oh, thank you.
and everybody else. Let's see. You guys have been awesome. You're talking about desserts in the chat. We're almost getting to the bottom here. We're never going to get to our topic here, and I love that. Yes, Julie did say this. Yes, everyone can talk to animals. I truly believe that is our birthright.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. And I
So,
think we're at the end.
yes. So the last time you were on, and I remember before you came on, it was the last minute, and I appreciate that. So thank you.
Pleasure.
So I do like to do shows on my own sometimes because I don't get a chance very often, but it just worked out, and I thought, if you're free, you're free, because we didn't know what we were going to talk about. And we started talking about your experiences as a little one going to feed the vampire. So would you refresh people's memories for people maybe that haven't heard that, like how this came to be, and why did you end up going with your handler, I will call
Mm.
them, and please correct me if I'm wrong, why you were in that situation.
Well, we ended up, yes. Well, this was a very interesting time because I think when you're so young, you don't realize the present and grave danger. You just don't. It just doesn't. You kind of think, well, all right, we're going here. We're taking our lunchbox, and we're taking our flask of tea
You said the last time.
because there was no food, food for me, no
Yeah.
human
Oh no,
food.
I knew it was for you, but I remember you talking the last time with your, I think you said your rabbit and your dolly and your little.
Yeah, that's it. And and we take Teddy.
Yeah.
And we off we go. We take Teddy and off we go, and we go into this house. And it part of the rituals, because they are overseen, and a lot of people don't realize this. There's a huge network around them, including these really satanic types of individuals, and they all support both the lycanthropes, our werewolves, and our werewolves, and our vampires. And this is what happens: is you end up with the PDFs, those that are attracted to minors. This is Teddy and Vamps. Oh, that's so rude. There's the Teddy, not with the vamp.
Snack Juana thought it was a good band name. I can't disagree.
You can't disagree. What do you like? Yeah, so we had to go. We had a feeding regime. So we're kind of down as caregivers. Well, not me specifically.
So who did you go with those? Like, because there may be people listening going, well, yeah, but how did she end up with this? Like, why were, you know what I mean? So could you please?
Yeah, so it was my handler, my handler, who handled me specifically right from the age of about 2.5, 3, right up until about 14.5, nearly 15 years old, when I got to the point where I'd said, you know what, that's it, I've had enough. And I broke a broom handle and said, I'm not being transported and moved. I'm not doing this anymore. And I basically said, if you come near me, I'm just quite happy to be in juvie for the rest of my life, and that was it. So for that whole period, as long as I could help, he would just drag me along and say, well, you've got to go here, you've got to go there. But every month, without fail, he'd pile these ladies into the car, and off we'd go in the car to chuffing off to this property to be able to take these ladies who had offered, these are volunteers that had offered themselves, to be fed upon by the vamps. And so my job was to, a distraction, cause a distraction, sit in the window of the big bay window and just look and watch the street and make sure nobody was around. But then more importantly is to go back into the kitchen and walk through there make sure that I was holding the fort at the back, so that there was always an exit out the back. So if anything went wrong, I had orders to zip out the back
Just a
and
baby.
head it.
You were
Yeah,
just
but you know, go to, it's usually is go to the nearest church. That's how simple it is. Find the nearest church, or you know, go to the nearest Bobby police officer, or go to the store at the bottom of the road. And there's always a store here in the UK. There's always a store somewhere at the bottom of the road, you know. But this is what you're told. This is what you need to do. If something goes wrong, this is what you do. And then you don't wash your laundry in public. You say nothing. You just say that I'm looking for my dad. That's it. And that's
why they brought. I got you now.
you're conditioned. So there was always that backup.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happened. You used to go there to take the ladies for them to feed on. And that was part of the deal, if you like, apart from being treated very badly and moved here, there, and every time all over the place for different types of gratification, so we say.
I'm going to read this out loud. So this is
Okay.
something to learn too, because we do have a global audience. We do broadcast to every country in the world. So that's why I asked you if you could just back up a wee bit. So these are the people we see, but there's like close to 900 million people listening live right now. And so they can't ask the questions. They're just listening going, vampires? What's this about vampires? And we also have some questions in the chat. So Deanna's asking, she had 2 questions. This
Okay.
was, and I read them out for people that can't see. So they're just hearing. So she's asking, were there different kinds too, as in had some kind of fetish? And then she said, or were they paid? So I know she meant different kinds of vampires, Deanne. Or
I think probably different types of food stock, because they're food stock basically. So Deanne, that's a great question, and definitely not one that I've ever been asked. So yay, there's a new question.
Good question.
So new question. So yeah, they are. Either if they glimmered, they never got paid. To be clear, they used to have this type of glimmering where they would be in that sort of field to say, well, I want to give of my life force to this vampire because maybe it'll keep me young, or it'll keep me, disease free, or it'll, I won't get colds, and I'll be beautiful and young. All sorts of silly reasons that these young women of all ages decide to, put themselves forward and say, yeah, if I know there's a feeding happening, here we go. There's a neck, go for it, knock yourself out, have a bit of a. So basically we were like the glorified takeaway. So we would roll up, he would get the ladies out, and we would walk into the house, and they would then choose who it was they wanted. They would then sit on the floor, and then they would go through an entire ritual of licking the neck, and then which has got anesthetic, and it has like a Novocaine effect, lick the neck. And then I was told to go to the kitchen. So while they were having their food, I went and had my sandwich and went and had my plastic little mug with my tea in it. And this is what would happen. This was the feeding regime.
So, okay. So like you said, it would be like the takeaway, but how did they sustain themselves in between? I've got so many questions. So like, cause you said this was a monthly ritual.
Our slot was monthly, but remember this is a huge organization worldwide. So they have, it would be us on whatever week we used to do. Then last week would be the other chap. Then the week before that, it was another chap. So everybody had their handlers with their charges, or those that were in the business of doing this type of work, as well as, cleaning up after hunts and being part of the sacrificial aspects and all this other stuff. This was all part of it. So they were never short of volunteers, and they were never short of people that would come and take on the role of being caregivers and looking after them to see if they could get to the final stage. And it's not 3 days. I mean, Holly Weird says, oh, it's 3 days. It's not 3 days. It takes over a year. And most of them, the majority of them, don't survive. They don't.
Well, you said that, and then so I guess that you guys, your particular group would come once a month then, so would there be other groups? Like, how often did they need to be fed? And you said the smell was atrocious.
It was, yeah.
And the change, like lots of people have lots of questions. I want to acknowledge Sherry Madigan because she said hi to me and you. And then she goes, I forget her words exactly, but she said, I really enjoyed. Oh, she said, I loved the last interview. So she's here for part 2.
Part
So, oh
2.
my goodness, we've got lots of questions. So
We
hang on,
have the
go up. My computer does not want to play nice because Contessa asks, well, first Aquana said when you were talking about these women volunteering, and I love your sense of humor, Aquana, she goes, well, that's a choice.
Oh dear. Yeah.
So, Connie is asking, do these vampires have any kind of special powers? Like in the movies, can they see their reflection in the mirror?
Well, yeah, they can see their reflection in the mirror mostly. The ones that are transitioning over that year period, it takes a long time. I put it as, over the long period of time looking after them. I put it that it takes a long time for them to lose their humanity. It's the same with the Lycan, with the lycanthropes, with the werewolves. The weirs are the same. It takes a long time to diminish the soul. It takes a long time to diminish what we become.
So do they lose their soul? Then they actually lose their soul?
They don't lose the soul because they're not actually, although it is demonic, they still have their soul, but it just becomes different.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I have so many questions. Like Deanne has shared, wow, this is so strange, fascinating. Did these people get pleasure from this? I'm guessing women they were being fed from. She said the same people came back, a bit like bloodletting in Victorian times, she's asking.
Well, Deanne, no, they weren't allowed to come back. If you had been chosen to be one of the volunteers, you then ended up only coming for that month at that time when we brought them, and then you had to wait for a period of time. I'm not sure how long. Well, you're no nurse, you know how long it takes to blood to do whatever it's got to do. So you couldn't. There's no ways, and you would get like a bun fight where some of these women would say, I want to go. It becomes almost like an obsession. And yes, they do. Absolutely, they do get.
Well, let's ask that question.
Gratification. Mm-hmm.
Let's ask that question then. Again, it's hard to get used to, but people can't hear. They're going, why are you talking about something different? What are you talking about? So what Sherry's asking is, what didn't the handlers get? Like, was it money? I think she meant to say, like, what did the handlers get? Like, why would they do this then?
Wow, it's when you take on such a highly responsible role, whether you're looking after the Lycan werewolves or you're looking after the vamps and the new generation of vamps, that is very high status. So the handlers would then not only be doing that work, but then you've got the knock-on effect. So you've got those that were sent to Pensacola, those that were sent to Quebec. They would have this because it's almost like, could you imagine that you've got a whole bunch of dogs in a dog pound, and you are the one that goes to feed the doggies in the dog pound?
Yeah.
Eventually, after 1 year, those doggies, they're going to know your smell. They're going to know what you look like. They're going to know how you speak, and they're going to know how you walk. Well, the vamps are the same.
Oh my goodness. Like Aquana has a question too. We got lots of great questions. She's asking, what do the people that are feeders gain from the exchange?
Well, there's a certain amount of trace elements from what I understood. I never understood it when I was young, but as I was getting older and quite, I was getting quite arsy and fed up about this. And I used to say a lot of things. I used to get really annoyed because I used to vomit a lot because it stinks to high heaven. So what they do get is they get a level of change within the blood. So you've got to realize that on the neck, where it is entering, where the Doppler, where you have the Doppler scan, where you've got the main artery.
That'd be your jugular.
It's going straight in there. And it's a two-way street. As much as there's siphoning and suctioning out it's like there's that backwash that's going back in.
Okay.
And what they get out of it is youth. So most of these over that year, and this is why there was a bun fight, because these ladies were, you know, their skin would be beautiful.
I was just thinking there'd be no shortage of some people, women found out, yeah, this was everlasting youth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what they would get. So they were, and but also they, if they were, and a lot of them were within the organization. You know, when you start looking at the satanistic organization, that then becomes part of the hierarchy. Then that becomes one that is a higher standing. There's a lot that everyone gets out of it. The handlers get pushed up. I mean, my handler was a 33-degree Freemason, and he was then, because he was taking care of this all of his life, and after I ran away, you know, he continued with what he was doing, and he just took other people, and he was doing this all of his life. So he moved up the echelons, and he was a master and a past master. He was a master of ceremonies, and he used to be in all of the different areas. He used to lead everything, and was actually mixing with royalty.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. There's somebody that I wasn't looking for that I came across. It came up in my Instagram feed. Now, he claims to be part of an elite family. I know we got to be careful on YouTube here. And he's starting to spill some secrets, but he's always wearing a mask. He's called, I think, the five-headed angel. Let me check here. But some of the stuff he was talking about, he got punished for some of the stuff he said, and he went over he didn't know who had punished him. They don't know who anybody looks like in these, whatever level he's in. I've also had spirit come through with a group that I connect with, and when they were trying to explain it, they claimed they were a fairly well-known actor when they were alive. That doesn't matter, but they were explaining, the way they were saying it was, when you have a snake and you cut the head off, and I thought, oh, he's going to say like a hydra, right? 2 more sprout up. No, that's not what he was saying. He said, when you cut the head off, it's over and done with. He said, but with a spider has 8 legs. And he said, the way this would work, you would have the head of the spider, the legs coming down. If you even took one of the legs, the spider could still live, could still move around. He said the way it was structured, and again, this was coming from spirit with the group that the couple of women I connect with. He described it as the leg then splits into 2 more legs. Each leg has another 2 legs, another 2 legs, another 2 legs. So it almost creates almost like a net, if you will, but only your little section of that part of the leg is what you know, until you stop exactly what you said, moving up the ranks. So even if something happened, even if you became compromised, you're not going to give away the whole secret, because you
don't know it.
No. No. So this gentleman, and I'll tell you guys about him. He's quite open on Instagram. I think he's called and he always wears masks. I think it's called the five-headed angel. Five-headed. And he's quite blunt about who he is and what he does and what their lifestyle is about. Hang on, I got to find the account. Yep, five-headed angel.
I'd love to go on his chat and put on the chat in the comments and say, do you know the Rhodes lot?
He's in the US. They were looking for a castle with his mother, but he tells you quite a bit of stuff. I don't know if he's for real or not. I kind of find it hard to believe. I don't think he gives away deep, deep, dark secrets, but he tells people and educates people about this and who he is and where he's come from and how discipline happens and how you go up the channel. I wasn't looking for him. So I have looked at some of this, and then I think, is this controlled opposition that he's out there telling this stuff and some truth hidden and not so truth? I don't know. But I'm getting off topic here, and I apologize. So we do have another question. So Kate Snyder Sterling, hang on, I got to go up a little bit here, is asking, Beverli, is there any physical or other benefit to those feeding the vampire? I think we did ask it. They said she can't understand why they would volunteer.
Yeah, and because they're already invested significantly in the group, and they're already participating in all of the rituals. They will say quite openly, as they do, is, we have to go and do a feed. Is there anyone that would like to volunteer and put themselves forward? And you'd always get, it became very boring, because you knew, especially with my handler, because he was very strict about because he knew eventually. It's like, if you're feeding a dog, or you're feeding a pound of dogs, you kind of know, what each of the dogs and each of them, what they will eat, what they won't eat, what they do like, what they don't like. And he then became quite aggressive and saying, and they are very aggressive, is saying, no, you won't meet the requirement. You're too weak, or you've got an illness, or you've got this. So it had to be somebody that wasn't going to transfuse any types of illnesses, and it had to be somebody that wasn't going to have a particular type of blood that was not palatable to them, because they did have their favorites, just like we like a particular type of soda pop, or we like a particular type of food. They do have their preferences. So the handler knew what they liked, and he would kind of weed out who it was that would be fine and we'd have no trouble, and who it was that it would be a bit dodgy, and maybe he wouldn't take that person, because they're a bit like, they are a bit dog-like, because if they turn on you, you've had it. If they turn on you and they go for you for whatever the reason is, or that person was, taking medication or something like that, or they'd taken, banned substances, that would go straight through to them, and you could see them, they'd pop and fizz, and and that's why I was banished to the kitchen. But I used to sometimes push the door and then go and have a look and see what was going on in there.
Didn't you say to me, we got great questions here. That's what I love about our audience. And I want to apologize, all of you, and to you, Beverli. I forgot to say this. I don't know if it's because I'm right over top my Wi-Fi, but I always have a bit of a delay. So it'll seem like there's a pause, and I apologize if I accidentally speak over you. It's not on purpose.
No.
So, see, I lost my train of thought there for a second, but it'll come back because I keep talking. So Deanne says, I guess the vampire, that's what it was before I asked. I knew it would come back. Didn't you say to me that their senses, the vamps, were so astute that they even picked up one time something, I think you said this on the last show, that they picked up that somebody had a serious illness, cancer actually, didn't even know, they hadn't even been diagnosed, but they refused to feed from her because they knew it was there.
Yes, they did. Oh, they can smell it out. That's why when with the handler, with him choosing who was going to go and who wasn't, he had to sort of kind of try to understand what was the background of that person. Because if you took, and we never took extras, you didn't have an extra takeaway to say, well, if you don't like those, then you can try this one. We never had anything like that. It was, because we only had a little tiny Morris Minor, which is a tiny little car. And 4 people had to get in there, 3 adults and 1 child. And if they'd say no, that means that he used to get as livid, he used to get as mad as a snake. And a couple of times it happened, and that means he'd have to go back, get somebody else, and then come back again with another volunteer, because you couldn't use that one. And then that one was like, well, there's something wrong with you, mate. You got to, on your bike, op it, because this is, you can't be used. And then that would mean that they would think, oh, wait a minute, wait to drop. What's happening? There's something wrong with me. Best to go to the doctor in the morning, type of thing. So yeah, the vampires didn't get paid though. The vampires was once they were fully fledged, they were then given different areas. So they would be given New Orleans, they'd be given Quebec, they'd be given, Pensacola, they'd be given areas in the UK, in Germany, all over, even in Japan, China, Taiwan. They are all over. They are such a large network. You're very surprised that you won't believe just how large this network is.
Why did they, and then I'm going to ask Deanne's question here, why the certain areas that they chose? Like, I have been to Quebec, numerous times. I think I mentioned on the last show, when I was 14, I went for a month on a French exchange to a family that didn't speak a word of English. So you learn how to speak French pretty quickly, read and
Oh,
write
wow.
it. But it is, especially old Quebec, is like going to a different country compared to the
Yeah.
rest of Canada. But Montreal in itself, holy cow, wow, that's a crazy city. Like anything you want, anything you need. Not that I ever looked for it. I wouldn't even have really been of the age ever to even
Mhm.
be looking at it. But the stories I have heard from people with the experiences they have had there, mind blowing. So why would they choose like Pensacola or, in Quebec or New Orleans or wherever?
Mm. It would have been whoever the master was. So if there's like certain masters that would have been around, and the
Mhm.
masters will always make sure that they change their names, or that they leave things back to themselves, or they leave things in, safety deposit boxes and places like that that are specifically, for their crew, or for their own brotherhood that looks after them or is part of them. So they do live longer. They're
Mhm.
not very good in daylight, but the older they get, they're not too bad. They can manage sort of maybe uh, early daybreak, very early daybreak, and they can manage when the sun starts going down. But it's because of this. They are parasites. This is what people don't realize. They are parasitic.
Mhm.
And what's in their bodies is parasitic, and what flows within them is almost like a type of illness,
Mhm.
which is all part of it. And you've just got to realize that what you're dealing with is it's humanity has left them a long time ago.
Well, the way you described it, because we'd have to be careful with the words that
Yeah,
we.
that's why I didn't say that word. I thought I want to say that word, but I can't.
No, you did it. You did it beautifully. But I was thinking while you were saying it, it would be like a bacterial infection without the bacteria, with something
Yeah,
starting with a V. How about we
with
put
it.
it
Yeah.
out there like that? The way it spreads.
I know. I didn't want to drop you in it. Oh, Sherry Wynn. Hi, Sherry. This is
Yes.
Sherry's the forensic psychic detective.
She's coming on the Angel Rock. I kept thinking, why do I know that name? Why do I know that name? Sherry,
Because
I'm so glad you're here too. So you're going to be in the hot seat. Well, not the hot seat. We're going to
Mhm.
have a great chat together, I'm sure. So, we had a question here. We got so many. I see Ken Stockla. I used to go to high school with him
Oh wow.
years and years and years ago. He's in the chat, I should say, and he's saying, "Hello, Angel Lady. I started. I know I did. Oh, Leanne, you're here. So this is my bestie, Leanne. She is in Atlanta, in the U.S.
Oh, in
And
Georgia. I worked in Atlanta, Georgia.
well,
Yeah.
Leanne,
Yeah.
one of the people I was going on and on about. You have to find out about this Beverli Rhodes.
Oh, oh my goodness. Hi.
Yes, we were talking about you for all good, but talking about you, like I said, when I saw you on Sean's show. Okay, so we've got some great questions. There's one I started here, so give me just a sec. Okay. Oh yeah, oh my goodness, we went there it is. We got so many great questions. Holy cow. So Deanne's asking, I guess so they weren't paid, you said. They live for longer, but if they can't handle the daily, I think you already answered that for me. So thank
Mhm,
you. You
mhm.
did. So just let me unstar that. My computer wants to jump all over here. But we've got great oh, Lulabelle says the women that agree to be the donors, if you will, they
Mm.
get almost a high. Is that it?
They do. Well, with when that sort of licking happens in the beginning,
Mhm.
it's sort of like creates it's like an aphrodisiac, or creates this momentum of just being it's worse actually than any type of substance, because it just, it just goes, and they just, yeah, they just absolutely give into it. But I see you got a reminder to do your station ID.
Because I always forget. I get into these deep conversations. Thank you, Kevin. So, you guys, if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to 105.3 FM out of Mississippi and the Gulf Coast, and 107.7 FM out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. This is the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin, and my amazing guest, who is one of our newest hosts on UPRN, She's having her show debut this Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, True Crime with a Twist, the amazing Beverli Rhodes. And we are talking about when she used to go feed the actual vampires and the questions people are asking. Holy cow. Great question here. Lulabelle, what happens to the feeder soul once they have become a feeder? Do they get demonic attachments? I think it's a great question.
So that's that. I've never had that question either. That's a super one. Wow, we've got some really super smart folks in the chat today.
I tell my guests always, we have the most smartest people in the audience, because I would never have thought of that question. But
I wouldn't have. No, I wouldn't have either. So yeah, the feeders. So once they become a feeder, let us also realize, to take a step back for 5 seconds, is that the feeders have already decided to be part of, the sadistic cult. That's all part of this. They're all part of either Luciferian, or they're part of this Satanakus. And this, they've already decided that they would be a carrier. They've already decided that they would allow demonic attachments based on whatever it is that the high priest was doing in those particular circles. So yes, they've already decided that they're going to become a dark warrior. Just as much as we have warriors of light, they're the opposite, the dark warriors. And they will get whatever they can out of that environment. So yes, when their soul remains their soul, they still have total control over their soul, because every time they decide to offer themselves up, it is still free will. It's just free will with the dark rather than free will with the light. And they will always have demonic attachments, always, because part of that ritual is they've been marked. And once they've been marked, they have those that walk with them pretty much for the rest of their lives, unless they make a change.
I can concur with that, because I was sharing with you, we were chatting earlier today. I never wanted anything to do with the dark. I still don't. My previous home, I had a dream like it was 10 minutes ago. It was 17 years ago. And there was a man sitting up in a tree in my old home and was trying to get me to agree to the most ridiculous things, like wealth and fame. And I don't normally remember my dreams. I won't get too in depth, because I know there's a lot of people that may be sensitive. But when I said, in no radio friendly, uncertain terms would I do that, and that basically leave, and he started to laugh at me. And then I said, who are you? And I've had people come for me on a panel on a guest show that it was supposed to be about Bigfoot, and they were going, well, I'm a demonologist. And even the Bigfoot hunters are going, I never knew you as that. But anyways, he was telling me there's no way this could have happened, that demons never give you their name or anything. Well, I'm telling you, this happened in a dream. And I can still tell you what he was wearing, what he looked like. He looked like a regular man until you got to his eyes, and they were going black and then like to flame, right? And then he started to laugh at me when I said, who are you? And he said, I'm a demon, told me his name, told me how to spell it, and told me his animal form. And again, much more emphatically, I basically told him with many cursey words in the dream where to go. And then he started wagging his finger at me, going, oh, no, 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 no. Every time you see a crow or a raven, you'll know who it is. And I remember at that time calling on Archangel Michael in this dream, and I can't describe the colors, the most brilliant sapphire blue, silver, and white. I woke up shaking, crying, and in a sweat, something that never happened to me in my lifetime before. It was the middle of the night. All heck did break loose. I could not find this name. I was raised to be Catholic. I say I'm a retired Catholic now. And I'd never heard this name before. I couldn't find anything. And I was helping somebody 5 years later. They were having issues with an attachment. And again, that's not my area that I would like to work in. But long story short, there I found every single detail that had been told to me in that dream on paper, everything. So they do exist. And yes, I will agree with many of the things that you're saying, because I did not want to deal with that. Had I not experienced the things that we experienced as a family, I would never in a million years believe it. Ever, ever, ever. So we have Shannon. She says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Shannon.
Oh no, are you kidding me? We get lots of EVPs on this network, and on my show, I get a lot. Carrie Lynn and I do. So Kevin says he heard a growl after, I'm going to guess Bev said doggies. So we'll see. We'll have to mark it. Kev, did you mark what time it was? Because Kevin's really good that way. If he picks something up, I know he will mark it and clip it. So Connie's got more questions, and I think they're good questions.
Good.
Is there an original vampire where it all began? I had that question too, Connie. Or were there many all over the world? Is there a country that has more vampires than another?
Yeah, well, there wasn't just one original vampire. There was more than one, way more than one, and who was stranded. Where it all began, I can't say for sure whether it was one place, because there are many places. And when you look back in historical records, there are some records that go back centuries and centuries and centuries, sort of like to 800 BC, where there's these odd markings on people. There's people that they believe have been around for a long time, and they find animals that have been sort of no blood in them and things like that. So there are records that go back years and years and years. So there are many all over the world. I would think that the largest concentration of vamps that can take care of themselves, that have a really well-established organization socially, they have their own pecking order, they have money so that they can be taken care of, and they have a very strict person that's governing them, is probably New Orleans, and it looks like to me mostly across America. But I think Japan comes a close second, and then we've got, of course, the UK.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because there's Antoine's and Joe, he broadcasts he's got a beautiful home on the bayou in New Orleans, and that's where we're broadcasting from, his home basically. And so I always love to I have a million questions always. And so like if we're on a panel, we used to have a paranormal panel on the network. So I had a lot of questions. And there's a restaurant in New Orleans. I've never been there yet. I'll get there one day.
It's very beautiful. It's a beautiful restaurant. I've only ever seen it.
Yes, Antoine.
Beautiful restaurant. It's gorgeous. Yeah. Love to go, but I don't think I'd go during the night.
Well, he said that's the rumor. There's pictures of generations. I think it's been around for 110, 120 years, and it looks identical. Pictures of the previous owners, and the present day owner still looks the same, just more modern, right?
Yeah. And Nashville is also one of my demon hunters is actually he picked the sore spot. He does Nashville. And I'll tell you, he just said to me last couple of weeks, he said, I've just built a new trap. And he's got a trap. And he sent some pictures and he said, do you think this will hold them? And I said, there's not a chance in hell that's going to work. So I said, go back to the drawing board, because, there was no way that it will hold it. Yes, Nashville and all of those areas, they've got a lot of SWs, or shall we say skin walkers. We call them SWs. We don't say the word. And obviously, because they are Lycan as well, SWs, it's that and the vamps, because the two work together. What people don't realize, and this is quite an interesting tidbit that I think a lot of folks don't know, is the two work together. So when you having one of these very big rituals that are demonizing a particular person or a child or whatever, you will always have two Lycan that are at the main gate. That makes sure that nobody gets in and nobody gets out. Not walking on their own 2 feet type of thing. So they work with the vamps. And as much as everybody thinks that they hate each other, they don't. They work together.
That's like cats and dogs. Well, I have a cat and a dog. But where do dogmen come in with this? Are they related to werewolves, or are they completely separate species that's off-world? I have so many questions.
I think that I've only ever sort of very carefully had a look at the dogman entity. And I'm not convinced whether the dogman entities are interdimensional beings or whether they're part Lycan, because I haven't seen one up close. I've only sort of had a brush with it, and it was interested in getting gone. It didn't want to be around whatever was going on, but that's it. So the dogman, I'm not sure. The jury's out a bit for me. I'm kind of thinking multidimensional, but also could be part Lycan, lycanthrope, werewolf.
So where does the werewolf? We've got so many questions, you guys. Aren't you guys glad she's on our network now? Because we do have each other on different shows and stuff. Because I'm telling you, and that's why I said there were so many questions about the vampires, and we talked about the Lycans afterwards when Bev was on a couple weeks ago, and so. Let's talk about the Lycans then. Where do they, like Underworld? I love that movie because it was a mixture of the Lycans and the vamps, but they made them warring factions, right? So where do they come
But
from?
they're not warring factions. That's that silly monkey brain people with the Holly weird. It's it's stupid. They're not warring factions. They're one and the same. They work with each other. They look after each other. A weird will Lycan or lycanthrope. They will hunt down something if something comes out of an event, which I've seen, unfortunately, very unfortunately. Somebody decided to gap it. Was one of those that was going to be turned, and they don't, because they're psychically attuned. All they do is they just say,
Hi, cats.
and that's it, and off it goes, and that was that, and it's just spit and fur flying, and you think, oh, okay, it's found its mark, and that person's gone bye-bye, which is the way it is, and that is what they do. That is their job. They are there to look after the vamps. They've been around a long time.
The demonic bodyguards of the vamps.
Pretty much, yep. And they're all looked after and all come under the same area. They're all part of the Shatanak, all part of the vampires and the usual.
We've got Katz here who says hi to you and I. There's so many great questions in here. Oh, Kat says I'll have to give Michael Sheen a call because he was in Underworld. They had one of the big Lycans in that movie.
I didn't see Underworld, but I don't even know what that was about.
Okay,
my problem is my family say to me, especially my daughters, we used to have Friday night. I mean, I'm of that age. My eldest daughter's 46. So we used to have like pikelets, which is a type of Irish pizza. And used to make these big trays of pikelets and then get all the duvets, put all the kids on the floor.
I want to come to your house for a movie night.
Fridays, movie nights. And then we'd have all the trays, and then all the kids from the neighborhood would just come in, and they'd say, Mrs. Rhodes, can my son come to the movie night? Yes, they can come. What are you watching? Yes, that's suitable for my child. And then I'd have these lines of children, and then we'd watch things that were age appropriate for, like E.T. Go Home, those sort of things. Yeah. How many times I had to watch that over and over again. But the problem is they always moan at me and they say, Mom, shut up. And because they would say to me, can't you just button in? Can't you keep quiet for 5 seconds? God love you. We want to watch the movie. Because I'd be saying, that's wrong. That's not the way it is. No,
I do that too with medical things, especially like when ER came out, that TV series. Oh, I was practically flipping my lid like, that would never happen, and that would never happen, and there's no way that happens that way. And
I'm glad I'm not the only one. So just, suck it up. I'm going to shout at the screen. Like recently, I was watching a fantastic series, which if you get it over there, get it. It's too cute for words. I was shouting at the screen. It's a series. It's called Resident Alien. Oh my God! You've got to watch it. I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. I did laugh in some places. I thought, oh my goodness me, look at this. Really? Who's the advisor on this movie? Because I've been an advisor on a lot of movies before, and I thought, who's the advisor on this movie? Why are you saying that, dude? Come on, this is not quite right. But the craft in the movie, awesome. The shape shifting, awesome.
Okay.
Go watch it.
You know what series? Okay, I usually have to be multitasking. So I've watched a couple things. I've never ever seen Game of Thrones. I actually binged on that, watched that. But the series, it was actually my partner that told me about it, and it had Kevin Bacon, and
Oh yeah.
he was the bondsman for Hell. He happened to be human.
I did see that one.
It's
Oh,
like
that
Hell.
was what? Why?
I know Carrie Lynn and I were saying the same thing. We were talking about it going, why would they cancel it? So what are your thoughts on that? So people who haven't seen it, he was a
Too close
bond
to
for
comfort, that's
Hell
why.
and had to
Too close to
capture
comfort.
a new demon each week. So
They
I'd love
did.
to hear your thoughts. What did you think about that, Bev? Was it true to life?
I thought that was really good. I was impressed with that. Whoever was the consultant on that did a good job because you get that, and also you get a lot of these individuals that are doing this work. I mean, that's why we're sitting with Demon Hunters Inc.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. The only difference is you provide information back and report back to great creator or the source, whereas he was reporting back to the other one, that one.
Yeah, so we've got Lilibel asking, what's behind the theory that vampires don't like garlic? I know that garlic is anti-parasitic.
Yeah, great question, Lulabelle. Well, in order for it to work, do you have any idea, guys, how much garlic you'll have to eat to be able to be anti-parasitic? So, no, and hanging it around your neck, it's just I've seen this before. They just take it off. Oops, they just take it off, give it a tuck, and then dive in.
So with the trap, like, do they have uber strength? Never mind, like you said, psychic powers. So what would you use to even make a trap to capture one if you were, and why would you want to capture one if they were overfeeding or causing a lot of mayhem, or you want to exercise them? What happens if you exercise a demon?
Well, you can't
Or
really.
not a demon, sorry.
I think that particular one with up in Nashville, he had the trap made because he is one of the demon hunters that believes that none of the demons or vamps or SWs or anything is beyond redemption. He believes that once you get it in the cage, that you can turn it. And then you can
you can't force someone to give it
coach
up.
of the light. No.
No.
And that's what he was trying to do. He has this ongoing tete-a-tete with me to say he's going to get one and he's going to turn it. I said, you know what, Blue? Good luck with that, mate.
You're not.
Because basically, if they don't turn, they get turned to dust. There's only two ways you either turn, go to the light, go to the Lord,
like, what
or
if they change their mind? Like, what if they change their mind? And I would doubt they couldn't really go back physically because of we'll call it, the infection has gone through their body. It's taken well over a year before they transition. And they've got a demonic attachment. There's demonic stuff with them. But what if they decided, or has it ever happened where they've changed their mind? I would believe not, because they've lost most of their humanity. But has it been a case?
Yes, there have been cases. They have, but
so
they sometimes they will say, but then that means that they don't want to live the life that they are choosing,
right?
And they would wish to rather return to source. So then that becomes in light, but they know that they will be giving up the life that they've had, and they will return back to life, and then they basically. It's like there's a different type of exorcism that is done with that, and they repent and they say, right, I don't want to be like this anymore. I never wanted this. And then they go back to source, but they're no longer on this plane. They're no longer 3D. They go, it's that same process. It's just a different end to them.
You know what made me think when you were saying that, though? Excuse me, when we were talking about your show at the beginning of the show, and the gentleman that you're going to be taking a look at, and that he wanted the DP, we'll call it death penalty. And I wonder if, like you said, you're looking at the attachments. Like, you had sort of said this at the beginning. Did he know he had these attachments, and the only way out would be to go back to creator or source, right?
Mm-hmm. And that yeah, but that's what he did. I mean, he was living by the warrior code. And Red Dog was specifically said, when you read the transcripts from the court, which I've done, it says, I do not want to be expedited. I do not want to be given clemency. The warrior's code is a life for a life. And I've taken a life and more than one life. And I will die. I will go and pass away as a warrior, and I will go home. And he stayed with that all the way to the end. He knew that there was something different with him. He knew that he had attachments, and he knew the only way that he could get away from that and have some peace is to go.
Well, we've got so many questions because somebody also, I'm going to add it into this one. They were saying, like, how do we know if we're around one? Like, how do we protect ourselves? And to add on to that, TQOE is saying, do they make a sound? I was woken in the night by sniffing noise and breathing on my left in the night. I woke up to it and I wonder what it was.
I don't think it would have been, it doesn't sound to me like that would be a vamp, because they're very, very, very quiet. And it's not usual that they will appear in a room. That sounds to me more like one of the lower grade demons, because that sniffing noise and the breathing and the left, and always coming through the left side. The vamps don't have to worry about always coming through the left. That's more of a demon situation. The sound that they make, it's more like yeah. If you hear that, then just gap it. In other words, English for run like hell. But yeah,
I don't know if you're around one. Like Connie's adding, this sounds like it would make a great movie.
There's so many movies about this out there. I think could be a bit boring, because it's telling the truth about things, and it would be a whole year. It wouldn't be, and after 3 days, you get your teeth and you do this. And no, I don't have vampire teeth. I just have really long incisors.
Oh my goodness, the thoughts. This has just flown by. Like, we literally have less than 10 minutes. Like, it's gone
Lord.
by. I went by so quick. I'm going to check and see, but I'd love to know more about the Lycans. Are you born a Lycan? Do you
No,
choose?
you're married. No, you're married. It's again same as the vamps. You decide that you are going to be a protector. You're going to be a protector of your tribe, which is your tribe is the vamps. And it's the same situation. It's a very different process, just as long, I might add. And in some cases, there's different types. There's different types of these werewolves, and there's different types all over the world. There's different black furry ones. There's different brown ones. There's white ones. There's totally different ones. It's a whole genre on its own, but it's even more secretive than the vampires, because the vampires are so well organized across the world. They have a lot of money. They have stupid money, generational wealth that you and I could only not even think about. And they're very strict. But then they've got their protectors. They are literally a whole social casting system, and they keep to it. And it's the same with the werewolves. They have that system, but you wouldn't. I mean, apart from them being stinky and smelling like wet dog, you wouldn't really know. Oh, look, you've got one. That's a wolf. Oh,
I made that.
Tell you, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
That reminds me. That reminds me of the wolf that attacked me. Sod.
Oh my goodness, you were attacked by a wolf?
Yeah, I've got the marks on the back of my shoulder. When I lived in Africa, next door. Now this is a thing. It's not a werewolf. Let's just be clear. This is just a wolf.
Okay.
A big male wolf, and she was. I think next door was breeding them. Who knew? He was breeding a wolf crossed with a Alsatian, or like what do they call them? A German Shepherd. The big ones. And the male, you could hear them doing their nonsense. and he wanted to be let out to the females because they had the males on this side and the females on that side. And what happened was, I don't know why he managed to get out of the cage. And I had a little Yorkie dog, very, very cute little thing. And I'd had my sliding doors open. And I saw this thing, like your book, this gray thing came over the wall. I mean, this is on a big farm that I had. So I saw this gray thing come and I thought, oh, what's that? And the horses were already in, so that wasn't an issue. And then this thing came bounding up. And Beely, my little dog, she was running a diversion and she came in front of him. And then she ran like hell. And I thought, no, if she's running, I'm running. I'm running. So I'm up there running in there like nobody's business. And I could see this thing. I thought, no way. Closed the sliding door. She was inside. The back door was closed. Everything was closed. This thing was outside. But before it managed to get me, it jumped like that. But I managed to get inside. So I managed to get in, close the windows, really, it was a sliding door. Closed the sliding door and then held it. And he was like,
oh, yeah.
and I thought, no, this is terrible. And managed to phone the flying squad and said, there's a rabid dog outside. I thought, good luck to you, mate. You're going to come and have a look at this. And of course, by that time, the owner was out with his shotgun and he saw me and I just went,
over there.
And I had this, and then I realized, oh, this is burning a bit. Why is it burning? I thought, oh, this is a bit sore. And then that was it. But, he was just, I thought, But yeah, I've had these 2 marks. It was not bad. I mean, it healed fine. It was just a wolf. It was like a very big dog. But I said to him at the time, my neighbor, I said, I'm sorry. I love your dogs and I love the wolves as well. I think they're lovely. I said, but I think it's cruel. And I don't think it's the right thing to have a wild animal caught in these breeding cages. And I said, I'm sure that the police will go and have a look at it. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm just lucky that my little dog was running and told me before this thing did that whole scratchy whatever. But then by that time, it was like he was already out with his double-based shotgun. Because obviously, weapons are legal in South Africa. You can have, but mine wasn't with me. I'd had mine was locked in the safe. And I thought, that lot of good days, isn't it? Yes, stuck in the safe. But then, I was going out to tend to the horses, and you don't take your weapons out with you.
No, I would have been so terrified for my horses too.
Well, I was terrified for my horses, but they were all, I had like these big diamond mesh fences because I wanted to make sure it's not so much, what he was breeding next door. It's more about horse rustlers and people stealing my horses. So that was more of a concern. But, I think probably if I'd had my weapon on me, I probably would have discharged the weapon and I would have taken out a beautiful creature. And I would have been really upset about that. But,
of course, we all are. But sometimes you had your fur baby to save. You had yourself to save. And Aquana, I agree. I'm so glad you're okay. Oh. My part. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say my partners worked in prospecting in the woods. And a couple of things he taught me, like this wasn't a normal wolf situation. And again, I'm so glad you're okay, Beverli. But he said, like, he had been tracked by a bear one night. The wolves, he said, like, the wolves are massive in this area. Massive. And he said, you don't worry about the wolf you can see, because that's a diversion. You're surrounded, he said. So,
But luckily it was just I think it was the dominant male is what my neighbor was saying. Warrior woman. No, just absolutely just bricking it. And that's another word for scared here in the UK. Bricking it and had to get in. And it was, this is like a silly, white woman from Africa stuck on a farm on her own with her horses. Wow. Well, that's silly, really. But that was me in those days.
That is just mind-blowing. Well, I was out, we didn't have coyotes in our area where I am, but there's forests behind us back here. It's beautiful, but there's it's not strange to find probably in the fall deer all over the city. I used to have deer eat out of my front yard. The wildlife and the nature is so beautiful. But
Wow.
we had what? Well, I'll tell a quick story. I don't think I've told it here before, but when we first moved into the home we're in now, I love to create, and that's how I connect with spirit. And I made this really cute little glass and silver. It was like a tabletop fire pot. And it even
Oh,
went back to
wow.
the days apparently of Jesus. I made these little containers with real cotton wool, and you use actual oil, olive oil, as the I guess the and what was it?
Igniter.
Thank you. So, and to hold the flame. So I'm sitting out in the backyard and it's about 2 a.m. and I'm on my phone. And all of a sudden, I'm not paying attention. I feel something licking my baby toe on my left foot. And I thought, oh, isn't that sweet? Emmy is, because I have a German Shepherd. And I went, Emmy's not outside. And I looked down.
Oh.
It was a baby skunk. I have no idea why. I actually looked up the spiritual significance of a skunk because a week later we were out in the front yard sitting on the steps, my partner and I, and he went inside. As soon as he goes inside, that little monkey, because I live in townhouses, and the one around the corner has a space between the two, they're not rows, but in between the two sort of blocks of them. He saw me, it was about midnight, and he ran around the corner and he made this massive beeline for me right in front of me. And I remember in the doorway going like this, going, no, little dude, off you go. And I wasn't afraid of him. I just didn't want him to spray me.
They
So
stink. Oh, and they do. They pong, and you can't get rid of it. It's Pepe Le Pew.
it's terrible.
It's horrible. Oh, what a cute. It was licking your toe. Never heard of that before.
My toe. He could have bit me thinking it was
Could have.
something. Yeah, he licked it. I'll never forget that as long as I live. We are out. We got less than 3 minutes, Bev. So please tell people how to get a hold of you, how to tune into the new show, and anything else you'd like to share, please.
Well, if you want to book readings, because I do sessions, and that can only be booked, bless you, that can only be booked through the website, which is awakeningacademy.co.uk, which, because I'm in the UK. And basically anything that you feel that you would like to cover. I do spiritual stuff. I do remote viewing. We do have an arm, which is the Demon Hunting Inc., which is, making sure that if you've got something attached to you, even no matter how complicated it is, and we kind of we don't give up until we get it, until it's gone, so that you can live your best life. So we do a lot of that. We also do a lot of looking for missing children. And the latest case that we're doing now is we are looking for the deceased remains of the American First Nation peoples that were badly treated and laid to rest in schools or residential schools across the country, particularly in Canada at the moment. So, and we do take on cases all over the world. So that's what we do.
Well, and you're going to tune in, everybody. I know you're all going to be there Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on UPRN with True Crime with a Twist with Beverli Rhodes, her initial premiere show that's coming. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in the chat. I might be hiding behind the scenes. We'll see.
It might be, the technology. Oh, Lord. I think that person's name is TQ. I think it's TQ.
Okay.
I think that because it's TQOE. I think it's TQ. I don't know whether I'm right, but that's what I think it is. I think it's TQ.
Michelle Plummer, I didn't get a chance to say hi. You were hiding in the background. So hi. We're so glad that you're here tonight.
Thank you.
Everybody. So you guys stay tuned, because coming up next is Dolly Saffron and Preston Dennett with the Lightgate. The amazing couple that do the show together, ufology, off-world type things, so much knowledge. So stay tuned. Don't forget to tune in Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Carrie Lynn and I will be together again beneath the hollow moon. We're going to be talking about dragons. And if you ever want to get a hold of me, I do psychic and mediumship readings. I do energy healing. I do crystal Reiki. I do teaching and mentoring. Leanne, who is in the chat, and we are working on our first course. Actually, we're going to be be putting out in the fall. I hope it's going to be a one-time-a-week, multi-week course. We're hoping to build a beautiful community with that, so keep your eyes peeled for that. You can always get a hold of me at the moment at facebook.com/the Angel Rock. When Leanne and I put the course out, I will have a domain name for sure, or any social media platform. If you can think of it, I'm probably on it, and it's under Lorilei Potvin or the Angel Rock. And Beverli, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to continue this conversation.
We will do number 3. Let's do part 3, because there's a whole bunch more secrets we can reveal.
Yes, everybody. So we send you much love, much gratitude for being here, and stay tuned. And we will see you on Wednesday with Beverli, and Thursday with Carrie Lindenlight. Okay, everybody, hang tight, Beverli. All right, we stay tuned for Preston and Dolly coming right up next. And thank everyone for being here. Okay, got it. And